The materials you will need is a canvas. I used a 16 by 20, a disposable plate for your paint, assorted paintbrushes, a container of water to clean your brushes, a chalk to sketch out your lines, a ruler, and the paint. Welcome to Painting with Wings. I'm Jeannie. Today we're going to paint a beautiful landscape. Grab a piece of chalk and let's sketch in our landscape. I'm going to paint mountains, a beautiful sky, and the reflections in the water, and some trees. I'm just sketching out the lay of the land and the reflections that will go in the water. I'm going to start with water, yellow, and a little bit of white. And I'm going to draw in my yellow first for my sunset sky. And don't forget to put a little bit of yellow in the water reflections. So whatever's in the sky, you have to bring down into the water reflection. Pops of color. Clean out your brush really good, because now we're going to put blue, light blue, in the sky, and also reflections of blue in the water below our horizon line. It's a mirror image, so just pops of color here and there, the same as the sky into the water. Now that my blue is done, I'm going to make a little bit of gray. I'm going to grab some white and a tiny bit of black and mix that up and make a light gray. And I'll put that in the sky and then the water reflections. I'll softly put it around the blue because it's water reflections, so it's very soft. And then I'll add some in the sky for a bright, brilliant sky. I rinsed off my paintbrush and I dried it with a paper towel. And now I'll dry brush and soften the water. Now I grab my fan brush and I'll grab some yellow and red and a little bit of white. And I'm going to mix it to an orange. And I like the color. I'll start at the edge. Make sure I like the color. It matches. A fiery sky. I like it. I paint the edges so I don't have to frame it, and then I could just attach it to the wall. Now for some orange in the reflections of the water. I changed my brush to a bigger brush. Just soften everything. Now for some brighter reddish pink. And some lavender and purples. It's your sky. You can put any colors you want in it. It's your own imagination, it's your own creation. And now, little touch-ups of light and dark. A little bit of light, a little bit of dark. Don't like it dark, make it lighter. It's your own landscape, it's your own sky. Now that the sky and the watercolors are good, now I'm going to do the silhouettes of the mountains. I'm going to start with black with a little bit of water. Draw in my shape of the mountains, and I'll color them in to the horizon line first. Now that the background's in, I'm going to make a darker gray. Just take my same brush with the black in it, and I'll add some white. And I'm just going to tap in a little bit of highlights for the shapes of the mountains. These mountains are going to be a little bit rocky. Shadows of the mountains, I'll use a darker gray. And then the highlights of the mountains where the sun would hit the front edges, I'll use a lighter gray and create the shapes of the mountains. Now I'll do a dividing line to set the mountains back. I'm going to put a black, and I'll put highlights on that. That would represent the land line. And in front of that, I'll put sand, because it is water in front. So it would have to have a little bit of a shoreline for the lake or the river. So I'm going to grab my gray, and I'm going to grab a little bit of red in it, and maybe a little bit of white. It's a little dark. Grab more white. I want to have like a sand color, but it's nighttime, so the sand wouldn't be bright gold. It's very darker. So like a purplish gray. Because it's nighttime. I think I'm going to grab a dot of yellow. Just a dot. Brighten it. There you go. That's a little better. Now that I'm finished with the shoreline, I'll do the reflection. I'm going to start with the black and try to do an image, a mirror image of the lay of the land into the water. Take your time. It's not a race. It's just you painting. It's relaxing. Mistakes are proof that you're trying. Do your best. That looks good. Now I get to cover up some of my water. It's gonna look great in the end though. Now that that looks good, we can draw some trees. I used a small flat brush. So gray, dark gray. Straight up, straight down in the reflection. And I'm just gonna tap tap back and forward. Make a shape of a tree. You can use a fan brush if you wanted. But these are far away and they're tiny, so I used a small little brush. Do your reflection in the water. And you can draw as many trees as you want. It gets easier. Once you do one tree, you could do many trees. Just draw in your dark, and then put little highlights on it when we're done after this. You'll see, it looks like trees. I'm going to paint 8 pine trees and 8 reflections of those pine trees in the water with the beautiful sky and the mountains. I'll put a little bit of highlights. My little bit of my purplish gray that I put in the sky, I'll put a little bit of that on the mountains. And then in the reflections of the water in the mountains too. Maybe a little bit of a gray or blue for the darker shadows on the back because it's nighttime and they wouldn't be as bright. Now I'm going to make a tan, the gray with a little bit of yellow. I'm just going to put a little bit of highlights on the trees. You could use green if you'd like, but it's dark and the sun is shining on the very edge of those mountains, so it's got like a yellowish gray color. I'll touch up my points on those trees. Because the water is pulling the edges of the trees. A few touch-ups. The shoreline, sand, gotta bring attention to that. I might lighten those trees against the water with the mountains. I'll touch those up too. There we go. They stand out a little better now. Now you can see them. Perfect. Much better. Now that I'm happy with the trees and the land, I'm going to do water lines. Straight white with a flat brush. And cut straight lines across the painting to represent the ripples in the water. You can do as many as you like. You go right through the trees so they know it's water. And you'll put some at the shoreline. And forward towards you. It's a good painting, and everyone should try it. If you create it, you will inspire others. It's not that hard. Now put your mind at ease. It's simple. You don't have to think about anything bad in the world. Just paint something beautiful. A tiny bit of touch-ups. Or highlights here and there. I step back and look at it. And I see what it needs, if it needs a little more color. I decided I want more purple. You could do anything you want to. But that's too dark. I think I'm going to change this to lavender. It's my painting, so I can do what I want. You can paint the sky any color you want to. You can just paint it blue with white clouds. That's simple. Blue with white clouds in the water, too. You can put a little bit of pink, like cotton. Pink cotton candy. Or red on fire. Or purple. Or a stormy gray. Anything you'd like to. Don't forget to sign your work. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Jeannie.